I go to a lot of restaurants, so many restaurants, and there's a big difference in my experience, my Black experience versus going to other restaurants. There's a big difference. Number one, Black restaurants and bars, why do you cost so much? Why am I spending 3 times as much for one drink versus somewhere else and it's a better quality cocktail or dish? I'm getting the same meal at every Black restaurant. You don't even switch it up. You don't even try. It's all the same stuff.
I live in a
And so here we go again, back with another one. Welcome to the Dark Times channel. And before I go ahead and get started, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button for me. And if you're not new to the channel and you enjoy the content so far on this channel, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And so let's go ahead and get into it. This is not going to be one of my longer videos, but a subject that I definitely wanted to chime in on. Being a so-called Black business owner myself, this is something that, I had a lot to say about. And it's the topic of Black-owned businesses and the double standards and expectations from Black-owned businesses. And so to go ahead and kickstart the conversation off, I came across an interesting discussion between a panel of 3 different Black business owners and then an individual who's somewhat of a restaurant/food critic herself. I'm going to go ahead and let the clip play, and then, of course, I'll come back and chime in.
Popular food critic Keith Lee's trip to Atlanta has highlighted the issues at some of the city's Black-owned restaurants. People on social media sounding off about some Black-owned businesses have an elitist problem. So, Terry,
Yes.
when you hear some Black customers say, I am not treated with respect when I walk into a Black-owned business, it's like, what do you want? And it's not proper protocol that they may give another race. Your thoughts on that?
And so before I let the rest of the clip play, let me just say, what a ridiculous thing to say. Because so-called Black people are the only business owners that are expected to bend over backwards for the customer and have the attitude of some of these other corporations that have the infrastructure and have the means to have the attitude of the customer is always right. Because let's get it straight, most of these other so-called model minorities with their businesses don't have that attitude when it comes to us or anybody in general.
Hurry up and buy.
And so let's not get it twisted, because a lot of other minority groups are allowed to come over here and set up shop within our communities and some of the most dilapidated and poor communities throughout America. And they're allowed to come in and set up shop doing the bare minimum. And not only set up shop, but thrive without any kind of major backlash. And their stores and their shops are continuously patronized.
I'll pay you 50%? No, unless you want to fix it.
Unhappy with the work, 26-year-old Ashley DeShays says she's not willing to pay full price and insists she wants to leave.
Let me out of your shop. Do not touch me.
Are you allowed to lock a customer inside if they refuse to pay?
Because I don't know allow or not allow. I want the money because I don't want my service for free.
Eventually, the confrontation gets physical with all 5 staff and the customer involved, both the customer and the...
And so for those of you that might think I'm cherry picking, I'm not. There's countless of videos that I could have shown where the exact same incident went down in a completely different shop. Like I said, a lot of these minorities come over here and they make up their own rules. Because we have a lot of Black business owners, including myself, that would like to go off on customers that don't pay you, that are unruly, or whatever the case may be. But there's proper procedures that we have to follow. And if we don't follow those procedures, guess what? We're being taken to jail in handcuffs. Because God forbid a Black-owned business or a so-called Black-owned business would have done something like this. This would have been damn near international news. This would have been on Fox News, CNN, and whatever other kind of news stations around the world. Headlines: Black business owner rages out on customer. And it would have been a black eye on all Black businesses. Because there's an impossible standard that so-called Black businesses are expected to live up to, that other groups don't have to come over here and live up to.
Serving this to people?
No. Sorry, sir, you can't come up for me.
I recently questioned management at New China on New Hope Road in Lawrenceville.
after an employee was caught cutting meat on the ground outside the restaurant.
Meat is being cut behind the restaurant on the ground. I want to make sure that's not being served to customers.
No, it's not.
Who could forget about this incident? An inspector forced an employee to throw away food at the Crispy Crunchy Chicken inside the Chevron on Fulton Industrial in Atlanta. This after rats were seen roaming around the kitchen area.
How many rats do you have here?
Like 10, 15, some
10 to 15 rats here?
like this.
And so there's a reason why I show these clips. And I'm not trying to single out or disparage any particular other minority groups. I'm not trying to do that at all, but there's a reason why I showed that. But before we get into that, I want to go ahead and show one last clip from this panel.
And there's a big difference in my experience, my black experience versus going to other restaurants. There's a big difference. Number one, black restaurants and bars, why do you cost so much? Why am I spending 3 times as much for one drink versus somewhere else and it's a better quality cocktail or dish? I'm getting the same meal at every black restaurant. You don't even switch it up. You don't even try. It's all the same stuff.
I
live in a
And you just hit her. You need to get a lawyer, ma'am. He's I got it on camera. You hit her. Everybody see it. Did you see her hit him? Did you, ma'am? Did you see him hit her?
Dr. Jabari, can you please leave?
Turns out that was the beginning of a downward spiral. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, then these are worth 1,000 roaches. Gandhi was recently shut down for a multi-generational cockroach infestation. If you feed them, they will come. And these roaches had a feast. Inspectors called them excessively active and found them housed inside a greasy burner where food was actively cooking.
September, an inspector found a dead rodent in the kitchen. Rodent gnaw marks on food and rodent droppings throughout the kitchen. 2 weeks later, another inspection. More rodent droppings were found and an order to shut the doors again. Plus, the inspector observed a gray mold-like substance on the top of pepper sauce.
You're going to put me on camera.
Don't lift that at me.
Look, that's not my shit. Bro, this is a piece of stick.
Let's talk about the rodents.
Listen, let's talk about nothing. You can leave from here, please.
You were shut down again.
I'm shut down because of my hole in the wall.
No, you weren't.
Listen, you can leave, please.
And so, like I said earlier, there's a reason why I show these videos. There's a reason why I show these clips. And like I said, it's not to discourage or disparage any particular minority group, but it's to make a point, and it's to make this point, that when a lot of so-called black people are out and patronizing a lot of these other different minority groups, they're witnessing what's going on. They're witnessing the treatment and the quality of food that they're being served. And they're looking around and they say, you know what? I can do this. And you know what? I can do it a little bit better. I can give decent service and I can give you decent food. And my kitchen's gonna be clean. I can do those things. And so they get the idea to open up a business. Because after all, every community that they know in their neighborhood, they're being disrespected, they're being overcharged. And more times than not, it's unsanitary conditions. And so the nerve of somebody, especially this young lady, and she's a beautiful young lady, by the way. She's a beautiful young lady, but she has no idea what she's talking about. On a macro level, yeah, what she's saying makes sense. In a perfect world, yes, everybody should treat customers like they're at Chick-fil-A. And everybody should follow that model. Yeah, in a perfect world, that makes sense. But when you come from the so-called black community, and you don't have the backing, that financial backing that certain communities have, one in particular, where you can open up a Chick-fil-A, you can have a model, you can have a slogan, you can have it your way, or whatever the case may be. Because you know what? Every teenager, when they turn 16 or 18 or whatever the working age is, they're going to be lined up to come work at your establishment. You're talking about the best of the best. They want to work at a Chick-fil-A. They want to work at a Burger King. They want to work at an In-N-Out. Because that's the spot to work. That's the place that teenagers want to work. They take pictures with the uniforms on. They're proud to work for that establishment. Not everybody is lined up to come work at Lakeisha's Hair Salon and sweep floors. Not everybody's lined up to come work at Ray Ray's Barbecue Shack. And so a lot of times what winds up happening is you have to get what you can take. I know because I went through this. It took me a while to get the right ones, and I vetted the best that I could. But in the process, I guarantee you I didn't have an employee that beat anybody. I didn't have an employee that was overly rude to anybody. And I didn't have any rodents or roaches in my product neither. Because like I said, those employees are hard to come by. Not everybody's lined up to come and work for a black business owner. A lot of individuals have a problem working for a so-called black business owner. That's a lot of authority. The ability to be able to hire and fire somebody is a little bit too much for some people to take. Because like I said, black establishments are required to live up to expectations that no other minority group are expected to live up to. They can come over here, set up shop, do the bare minimum, and thrive. And you know what? Maybe the next establishment they open, they'll get it perfect. Or the one after. That's the hope. But when you're just starting out and just now coming into some form of generational wealth, and they're trying to sustain that and grow that, they're not going to know everything, and they're going to make mistakes along the way, just like some of these other groups do. And like I said earlier, this one's a little near to my heart, so I'm probably speaking about it a lot more passionately than I do about other topics. But that's because I know what I'm talking about. But no disrespect to this lady, but she doesn't have a clue into the realities of what she's actually talking about. And so I think that's going to be a wrap on this particular video. Definitely chime in the comment section on this one. Let me know how y'all feel about this particular topic. And if you like the video, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're not new to the channel and you enjoy the content so far on this channel, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And as usual, peace and chaos.